Today, I want to talk about something that's a little food for thought, and it's how our weight loss journey can impact the relationship our kids have with food. I don't have any kids, but I plan to have kids. And this is something that came up to me as I've been talking to friends and just looking inwards on how I was raised and how what my parents did influenced my relationship with food. I never thought about weight loss as something that could be bad or that could have a bad impact on other people. But after a couple of interactions and talks with some friends, I realized that it could, and it did for me. I was walking with a friend and we were walking with her baby. And I was telling her about my weight loss journey. I'm very excited. I lost all this weight and I'm taking Zepbound. And she told me, she's like, well, I just had a kid. It's so difficult for me to lose weight. And I don't want my kid to see me always trying to avoid certain foods and like being obsessed about my weight and how I look. And when my friend told me that, I took that in and I didn't think much about it. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. That kind of sounds cool. You're thinking about that. Never thought about that. But then later on, I saw another friend. She was telling me that she lost a lot of weight. And she was like, I have a horrible relationship with food. And she looked at me and she's like, well, you're also South American. You probably had a similar upbringing. Your parents probably did the same things. And I looked at her and I was like, what do you mean? And she told me that for her at home, her parents would always say, oh, you're getting fat. She was always obsessed about losing weight. So when she's telling me this, I look inward and I try to think of like my childhood. Did I have that? Was she right? Did my South American upbringing have the same effect on my relationship with food that it did for her? And I realized that yes. So my parents are amazing people. If you're watching this video, I'm not blaming you, mom and dad. You did the best raising me, but there's definitely little things that happen throughout your life that can dictate the way that you build a relationship with food. So when I was a kid, I remember my dad would tell me, you're gaining weight, you're gonna get obese, be careful, you're eating too much of this and you're eating too much of that. And even though they ate sort of healthy, they weren't like super healthy. There was soda in the house, cookies, all the good stuff that kids eat. I remember that I would start eating things hiding. I would wait for them to get out and then I would go and attack the fridge and I would eat all that stuff because I didn't want them to see me. Because if they saw me eating and I was a little overweight, they would be like, oh, you're gonna get fat. This is a very difficult thing because you don't want your kid to be unhealthy. But what I'm talking about here is a different approach, right? Instead of telling your kid, you look fat or you're gonna get fat, you should bring up the health aspect. There is a way to instill the healthy lifestyle without making the kid associate food with something prohibited or associating like eating a cookie with something that, it's taboo or it's like it's going to make me look a certain way. And what's the problem of looking a certain way? If you're losing weight, you should be proud of yourself. But if you have kids, you got to be very careful. Instead of telling them that you're doing this so you can look good, your clothes will fit better, and everything is better when you're skinny. This, in those formative years, like when your kids are kids and teenagers, this can completely change the way that your kid deals with food. Because now there's this sentimental value. When you eat that burger, this is like a forbidden thing. I shouldn't be doing that. And you feel bad when you do it. And it's like every time you get angry or anxious, this is what you resort to, is the one thing you can't have, the one thing you like. It tastes good, but you can't because you're not going to be good enough for society. You're not going to look good and you're not going to be worth it. And this is already something that we're bombarded with from society. You see celebrities, they're skinny, they look a certain way. When they gain weight, it's in every single magazine. Like, what happened? When they lose weight, it's in every single magazine. So everybody's worried about each other's weights. And to a child, you see your parents, they're striving to look a certain way. They're following that path in society. That's very confusing because now you're thinking that, yeah, like my hero, my parents, this is what they want, then that's what I should want too. And it should not be about the looks. It should be about the health. Looking back into my childhood, I feel like a better approach, instead of saying you're going to get fat or you're going to look like X, Y, and Z, or it gets worse when you get older, you could have told me, like, let's go to the doctor, let's go to a nutritionist. I feel like you're not eating enough nutrients. I feel like your nutrition is lacking in some sort of aspect, and bring that in more of like a health talk so that your kid is more worried about health than about the looks. And it's the same thing for us adults. If we think about our weight loss journey just for looks, like we're doing this just to look good, yeah, that could be good, but we should focus on health, because once you focus on health, you understand what you're eating, why you're eating it. It's easier to continue that throughout your life. You understand why eating a burger every day or something fatty, nothing against the burger, but something with bad fat, or drinking that soda all the time, why is that not good? Because it's doing this, this, and that to my body. So I actually want to know from you guys, whoever's watching, did you experience that when you were a child? If you look inward, if you look on your childhood, on your formative years, how was your relationship with food? How did you start your relationship with food? And how is it today? I know that for me, this is a fight that I have to fight throughout my life. It's to change my relationship with food. If I eat something that's not on my diet, I shouldn't feel bad because it's going to make me fat. I shouldn't go to the scale and check if I gain 2 pounds. What I should think about is, how is this impacting my health? How is this going to make me feel tomorrow? And instead of using food for comfort, I should develop better habits, something that won't negatively impact my health. So I just wanted to put this thought I had out there and see if there's anybody who thinks like me, or if I change someone's mind like my friends did, even though they weren't trying. They really did change the way that I think about weight loss and how the looks should be a consequence for working on your health and not the other way around. And if you're interested in knowing a little bit about my weight loss journey, I'm going to put my playlist here, and I talk about GLP-1s, which is what I use to lose weight, and I teach you how to get discounts and tell you about how it's working for me, explain a couple of things. So if you have any questions, you can also just put that in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe so you keep getting more content like this. And I'll see you when I learn some new stuff.